So, number 2 in our video series on abortion and disability justice and reproductive justice. Bianca, thank you again.
Sure.
So, there have been laws on abortion, you're mentioning, since 1973 with Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
And how have the laws on abortion changed, and what are the restrictions before these recent laws were passed? I think, at least for me, like it seems like there was a certain standard, and then all of a sudden, right now, there's a radical shift. But I have a feeling it was a little more gradual than that.
Yeah, absolutely. The abortion laws that we're seeing today have been happening since the 1800s. For youth historians or those who are interested in digging a little bit deeper, we really didn't have any laws about abortion in the United States in the early 1800s. And if you think about it, what was happening then was chattel slavery, and so people were very much encouraged to reproduce to help create a labor movement, or not even a movement, but a labor community that was forcibly attempting to, keep people enslaved, especially people who are descendants of African enslaved people. And so that was active in the United States. And you also had a very active community of homeopaths and witches and midwives, as well as medical doctors. And, we have a lot of great history that shows us that it was medical doctors who got really pissed off that they had some competition because some herbalists could give you a tea that could help make your menstrual cycle come down, or that there were midwives who were putting them out of business because they were helping deliver children in a completely different and more humane way than medical doctors. So it was medical doctors who had access to wealth and power that chose to create laws around abortion and make abortions illegal, essentially, or something that only they could provide and offer.
Oh, wow. So they became gatekeepers, basically.
Oh, absolutely. And that's just the history of body autonomy for people who are born and forcibly assigned female at birth, unfortunately. And we're seeing this continue throughout today. And what a lot of people don't know is that it was actually the Republican Party under Ronald Reagan as governor here in California who actually created a law, or tried to make it legal, that therapeutic abortions could occur. And so therapeutic abortions are abortions that can occur because someone has experienced incest or has become pregnant due to a rape, or their life would be endangered if they maintained the pregnancy or if they gave birth. So it was the Republican Party that actually really fought to be able to have access to this type of procedure, because they recognized how important it was to the pregnant person to make those choices and to not experience any more trauma. And yet, here we are today with people from that party who are trying to create even more drastic measures that would even erase therapeutic abortion choices. There's also 2 other terms that you might hear about when talking about abortion. One is selective abortion, and this is one of the terms that comes up a lot for disabled people when talking about abortion. And selective abortion is basically selecting to terminate a pregnancy because there is a disability or because of the sex that's forcibly assigned when the fetus is growing. And this is a really common experience that has a very thick and deep traumatic history for many of us that we don't always talk about. And we also need to understand, like, how does body autonomy intersect with this? And where does my personal values stop and another person's body begin? And that's really the conversation that I think a lot of disabled people are not having, because these are really hard conversations that we take very personally, because it talks about our existence here on the planet and the reality of how eugenics has been used to violate other people's body autonomy and reduce their access to choice. And so that's selective abortion as a term. And then there's elective abortion. And elective abortion is what's the term that's used when people make the choice to terminate a pregnancy. So a majority of the abortions here in the United States are elective. Many of the laws that you'll hear about will try to use the language of therapeutic abortion, so incest, rape, and life endangerment. And then you'll hear people like the anti-abortion movement proponents who will use selective abortion language and try to hijack the disability justice language to articulate why they're against abortion. So we see that happening, and it's really important for us to understand that language, how it's being manipulated, and also where our own personal values fall around this conversation.
Wasn't that what Clarence Thompson was doing recently when he was saying he was using language of eugenics to say that, well, people shouldn't have the right to control their own bodies because it could be used for eugenic purposes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting. He'll make a statement of dissent around certain topics and will be silent around others. We also hear this language, you know, with Justice Ginsburg, who many people love and adore, and she's a great justice. And she also uses a very binary language. When she was added to the Supreme Court in the 90s, you can find her conversation at that time. She definitely was saying, you know, Roe v. Wade is an important law to maintain because it puts women at an equal status of men, where women get to make a decision about their lives. And if we overturn Roe v. Wade, we're making a statement that women are not equal to men. So that's another example of that binary language, but also laws are binary. Laws use binary language. Insurance companies use that language. And so for many of us and many of you out there who are non-binary or trans, and who struggle with that language, there are ways to work within it and to get the care that you need. And you can also find support for navigating that, to find the quality care that you deserve.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so we're going to go to our third video now. See y'all in a minute.